Fashion designers have, I don't know whether, infamous for being elitist. And hey, fashion is elitist. You'd agree, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be a certain kind. And television is not. It's very it's a mass medium. It's very democratic. So what part of yourself did you feel you had to change for television, or do you have to mellow down? Do you think you've become more diplomatic because you were known as the bad boy of fashion and you were very outspoken, and you were also very, क्या कहते हैं इसको, politically incorrect at times?
I think we all grow up at the age. I think we all grow up at the age. I also feel that at that time, fashion needed a voice. Fashion needed a certain kind of a bad boy or a bad auntie, for that matter.
We have a couple of those as well. Yeah.
To have that voice.
Unless you're referring to me.
No.
Okay.
No. And fashion is elitist. I mean, that is not just now. That's globally all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay. If the designer didn't have the personality, you wouldn't buy the designer.
Absolutely.
Right?
The brand. Yeah.
A brand. And all brands put themselves in different markets. Some choose to be in the higher markets, and some choose to be in the middle and the lower markets.
Yeah.
Okay. All markets make tons of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even the point. In fact, I feel that the mid markets and the lower markets make far more than the higher ones.
Bilkul.
Because the trickle down effect of the copy sells far more than the original.
Yeah.
So I think in those days, fashion needed a voice, and there was none. When we started the Fashion Week, there was no voice. And they needed maybe someone like me to have that voice, to take them all forward. Even अभी भी जब मैं डिजाइनर से मिलता हूँ तो वही कंप्लेंट आती है, खुदा के लिए कुछ आप कर लें. तो मैं हमेशा यही कहता हूँ कि मैं ही बैठा हूँ सारी गालियाँ खाने के लिए. मैं क्यों कर लूँ, तुम लोग कुछ कर लो. So it all depends on leaders and followers, I would feel.
You don't feel that the new generation has names that would actually take Pakistani fashion forward?
It's not that kind of foresight. I think you have to have a big heart to take everyone forward.
Right.
I think that's very important. When you, for example, let's look at today's scenario, you have to pay so much from designer to models to photographers to coordinators to stylists to get your brand noticed. Okay. While everyone is playing the Instagram or the Google ads or the Facebook, right? But in those days, let's just look at only 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. There you were senior designer opening, senior designer closing, and you found a new talent, you put him smack in the middle.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there were overnight stars. And paying what? Nothing. 50,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So look at the actual chunk or talent that you were discovering in those days, and how much hunt that you have to do now to find talent, and how that talent has to pay the kind of money that they have to spend
That's the thing,
to sustain themselves.
Absolutely. The price is much higher and the stakes are higher. Absolutely.
Way higher.
Absolutely.
Okay? Especially on digital media where everything is over in 24 hours.
Do you think it's easier now or is it tougher now?
I think it's extremely tough.
Tough, right.
I think extreme originality and extreme different kind of ad campaigns and campaigns that are completely off the hook are the ones that get noticed. While you've now gotten so used to sitting in your car and just browsing, half of the stuff you won't even notice.
Absolutely.
Anymore.
And you don't. You don't notice, and it's very forgettable.
It is very forgettable.
And you forget about it.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think that if that lead was taken back today, then those young designers also need a voice.
Yeah.
Okay, or someone to lead them, for that matter. Okay. To take the whole thing forward and create something new. And fine, social media might have given us a platform as an exposure.
Right.
But not everybody can afford it.
Do you think that television productions and television stars also, do they need design counseling or help?
They all definitely need help.
They do, right?
If they didn't need help, why would they have stylists who come with them?
But are those stylists doing a good job? I ask because a lot of times when I watch an average of 12 to 13 dramas a week, I don't know how many you've watched.
No, I only watch myself on this drama.
That is fine. That is fine. But also, especially when they're portraying the rich, the lifestyles of the rich and famous or the elite class, they can't handle it. और बहुत दफा हमने ये कहा है कि यार अमीर लोग ऐसे नहीं रहते या ऐसे कॉफी नहीं पीते या ये नहीं पोर्ट्रे कर पाते. So as a designer, do you feel that merger needs to happen?
I think it's a very important question to ask. Let's take Yumna's look in our drama.
Yeah.
And it's extremely natural.
Yeah.
So she's got 3 stylists who are behind her constantly.
Okay.
Okay. There are these 2 kids, one does hair, one does makeup, and one does clothes. Okay. And I actually think that they've nailed it because her look is completely ordinary, the way it should be.
Yeah.
There's nothing out of place.
No.
Okay, if she's got a little sweat or baal chipak gaye, to it's there. It's not being removed to say. And I've seen them interrupting in the middle of the scene sometimes, and it's kind of irritating.
Yeah.
But when you see the final product, they've gotten it right.
They've got her uniform right.
Yeah.
They've got her day wear right. She's not overly blow dried or made up or false eyelashes.
As far as your question about the other part is concerned, that it's like wearing luxury. If you haven't worn luxury, you wouldn't know what luxury really is.
Yeah.
Right? So...
But when you're showing luxury on television, you should know
then the game is of the director.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the director must be able to pinpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. Like in this case, I'm not going to mention any names, but in a couple of other dramas, our director was not even interested on how the table should be set.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. And I've set the table in every drama that I have done.
That's exactly what I was aiming at. That do you bring your expertise to the table, pun intended.
I normally keep quiet about it.
Okay, you do.
Okay, I try to.
How tough is that?
But in this drama, yes, I've set the table.
Yeah, because you've set the table.
Yeah, because I like a napkin on my lap, so everybody should have a napkin.
And they're a rich family.
Yeah. So all the china was taken out, yes.
Okay. And the napkin was laid out.
And the napkin was given, otherwise I refused to eat.
And you know the rich man's table, जिसपे double roti की एक layer, मतलब पूरा stack हुआ होता है. और orange juice का एक बड़ा सा mug होता है.
वो हर ड्रामे में होता है. नहीं, इसमें actually खाना है.
हाँ. मैंने किया note.
इसमें proper खाना है.
They don't have the typical hum TV biryani and charga and you know.
No. Chinese खाना, अपना, what do you call it? कढ़ाई, शढ़ाई, मुर्गी, chicken. इसमें सब कुछ है.
Right.
Okay. And that credit goes to the director.
Yeah.
Because Saqib Khan does not like to do what other dramas or directors would like to do. He will turn on and say, no, it has to be real. And he forces us. You cannot pretend not to eat.
Right.
You have to eat.
Right.
So if you have to eat, then it better be good.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is.
हाँ. It sounds like a fun set, by the way.
Oh yeah, great fun. Great fun.
होगी recording खत्म, filming खत्म हो गई या अभी हो रही है?
खत्म हो चुकी है.
Yeah.
I've got one scene to go, which I think I'm going to shoot in February. But other than that, we're done.
You're done.
Yeah,
and how many days were you on set?
I was originally asked to be there for 24 days, but I did 34 days.
34 days.
Yeah.
Nice. Not bad.
Like I said, attention to detailing.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't leave you unless he gets a job done.
Good.
Yeah.
That's excellent. And it shows.
It shows.
It shows, absolutely.
It even shows in the small scenes and the framing.
It does. But Deepak, as an outsider, I'd call you an outsider in the TV industry. Why are you smiling?
No, I am an outsider.
You are an outsider.
Yeah.
As an outsider in the TV industry, do you think it's a fair system? I know that you come with a lot of, what should I say, not entitlement, but you come with a lot of like, wait, you're Deepak Perwani. Nobody's going to mess with you.
No.
People will treat you right on set. People will pay you properly. I know that you are one of the highest paid supporting actors in the industry right now. And you will be paid on time. Nobody's going to mess with you. So you walk in with that, right? But it's not like that for everybody else. There could be supporting actors in your cast who are not dealt with as sort of generously as you are.
Well, then we would say that we are privileged, right?
Yeah.
I mean, chalo. If you're privileged, you're privileged. But I've worked with, I think most of my dramas I've done with Hum TV or with M&D or with Momna, Durer, Mahesh or these guys. So I've never had any issues. In fact, I've never had any issues with payments with anybody. I've done a play with ARY also back in the days. I've done Nina Kashif's new.
Right.
I did a cameo. I'm playing the hockey player's father.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
Okay.
Very cool drama to watch. I think it's on TapMad.
On TapMad, okay.
Yeah. And boom. The day I finished work, they paid me. I mean, brilliant.
I mentioned this to somebody that, and he said, oh, he's Deepak Perwani, unko kaun nahi karega phir. But that's unfair. But that's not your fault. It's not your fault. But do you notice, is it like a very sort of a smooth run on set?
Well, no, my co-star, we had this conversation. My co-star also, Salma also said she gets paid on time.
Okay, that's good to know.
Sakina Appa was leaving for London.
Right.
She got paid on time.
Right.
I remember this.
That's encouraging to hear that,
I mean, at least on our set, I've not seen any kind of